We've had 4 incredible races over 4 incredible weeks, but it all comes down to this. The championship is still on the line as our world-class drivers prepare to hit the circuit for the final time this season. We're in Mie Prefecture, Japan to finalize this series at the legendary Suzuka circuit, and it's 18 corners and 3.16 miles. That will be our battleground, and the 992 Porsche 911 Cup car will be our weapons. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the finale of the Porsche Cup here on RCI. I'm Jack Mays. Joining me in the commentary box is none other than Callum Kerwin. Our race director and man on the cam is none other than Ash Bibby, joining us for the final time this season. Callum, are you ready for the championship battle of the ages?
I am indeed. It's one of the rare Mondays where we actually have a 3-car fight for P1, I believe, from my ever faithful napkin map that I've done by looking at the championship standings 5 minutes before the stream started. Obviously, we've got Martin Lorenk on 231 points. There he is right there. In second place, we've got Matt Whitburn on 222nd and Raphael Huell on 204. So those guys are the guys that are in the championship fight for this season. In the practice server so far, I think what we saw was Martin Lorenk about half a second, 0.4 of a second up on anyone else. I think Whitburn ended up in second or third. I didn't quite see the last results, whether he set a quicker lap in at the end, but seems like Martin Lorenk might have the pace based on practice, but as we don't know what sort of tyres they were using, we don't know the pressures that they had, we don't know the fuel loads that they had or what they were doing, so it's all really up to play for. So we'll have to see sort of how the next 10 odd minutes goes, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. We're 5 minutes into our qualifying session so far. It is a nice long lap here at Suzuka, easily the longest lap we've had all season. So a lot of room for errors, a lot of room to gain time, and a lot of rooms to sort out the Cup car machinery. It is worth mentioning, as Callum said, it is a 3-way fight for the most part. It's mostly a 2-way. It's between Whitburn and Martin Lawrence. All Whitburn has to do, I say all he has to do, it is a big ask around a circuit as tricky as this. He needs to win the race and get the fastest lap. That fast lap, it is worth an extra, I think it's 5 or 6 points extra, and it is just enough to beat out Martin Lawrence. Raphael Huell, who's in third, basically needs there to be calamity between Whitburn and Lawrence, and he could grab the championship right out from under him. So it is all to play for here still. And qualifying is one thing, but the race is something entirely different. It is worth mentioning that this man, the Rainbow Sparkles racing driver of Matt Whitburn, qualified in third last week out and still won the race. So it's anybody's game here. It's all to play for, as we like to say in the commentary box. And that just means for an exciting race, Callum.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going forward for a lap here on the legendary Suzuka circuit. This is with Nico Kumpu. So he's currently sitting in third, about half a second off. Really sort of tricky double apex, turn 1, turn 2. And then you come into the very famous Suzuka S's. So all about the front end here and trying to get the rear to follow nicely. It can be quite difficult in these cars to not induce too much oversteer. But yeah, as he comes through what would be the middle sector, car getting out of the way there, probably a little bit distracting, but trying to sort of use as much of the track as possible. I found when I've driven this circuit in the past in other sims as well as ACC, it's all about getting the flow right, smashing over the curb on the inside of the first Degner and into the second Degner, using all of the AstroTurf on the way out, and then trying to get the power down for this short little run up into the hairpin. He's electing to take the narrower line on the inside. You don't really have to hit the apex of that corner because it is banked, so it will naturally pull you around anyway. You'll probably see some drivers taking a sort of slightly wider line through there, but that does leave you open to somebody sending a good old dive down the inside. Through Spoon Curve, this corner feels like it never ends, and he actually, it's ended for Kumpu, as Ash Bibby very well says, because he got a little bit crossed on the way in and just scrubbed off a bit too much speed on the way through. But a good sort of example of how to do 2/3 of a lap of Suzuka there, Jack.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that is most of the lap. Pretty much once you get through Spoon, it's well, it's two mighty corners between you, and we'll see. Huel will finish the lap up for us, hopefully, as you're saying, coming into Spoon corner. Brutal corner. It's almost impossible for me to get right on a good day, no matter what car I'm in. Raphael Huel, though, appears to be dispatching it with relative ease down the longest straight on the circuit here. I think he's going to do a little bit more tire warm up, maybe get those pressures up for another hot lap, and we're reaching towards, I think, one of the most famous circuits in motor racing. It's 130R, a corner that's flat in some things. I can pretty much guarantee not flat in these Cup cars, and then it's into the final chicane, the Casio Triangle. It's, you know, a clattering of curbs, and it's all about getting the car straightened out before getting on to the final start-finish straight. Bit of a wiggle, bit of a wobble from Raphael here. But it is a lap, not quite a representative one, as we saw him weaving down the straight. Hopefully, we'll see where he's at. 6 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. It's Lawrence on the pole and Whitburn in the second row, with Stubna, Kumpu, and Huel wrapping out the top 10. It seemed that Lawrence and Whitburn decided to return to the pits, maybe refill the car, maybe throw on a fresh set of tires, and head back out for that final 5 minutes. We're on board now with John Dalton, the nearly on pace driver, who has been nearly on pace for pretty much this entire season. But certainly a driver to watch in this race, and been a driver to watch in this championship, always sort of being on the bubble, fighting for a podium, sometimes ending up short in a couple of unfortunate ways. But quick driver, mighty driver, that John Dalton. And there's so many good drivers in this championship, aren't there, Callum?
Yeah, I mean, talking of one that's normally up the front, but hasn't just, I don't think, gelled very well with this car, and maybe this series as much as some of the Mondays we've seen him absolutely sort of storm along with and take championship victories, is Andy Boardman. He's down in 7th. He's about, well, we'll see if this lap gets him any closer up to the top. No, so hopefully he's done his prep and he's going on to a quicker lap now. But he's about a second and a bit off the pace, which is currently being set, as you said, by Martin Lorenk. They are both out of the pits, so you know they're going for it when they only take enough fuel to do an out lap and a hot lap, and probably not even the in lap. Ideally, you'd be sort of, I think it's about 0.3 litres these cars start to stutter, if I remember how ACC works. It's been a while since I've driven ACC with any form of effort and dignity and finesse and all that, but yeah, they stutter at about 0.2, 0.3 of a litre remaining, so you aim to sort of end up with that much left at the end of your qualifying run. That's a bit sideways through the second Degner, but manages to slide it through. It's not necessarily the slowest way through there, sliding it, but not ideal, and very easy to get a track limit cut on the exit of the second Degner going under the bridge. I was just looking at a track map because I realised I didn't have one up, and I didn't realise that the last corner is literally called last curve, that little kink in the straight, and the first turn is just called first turn, or at least it is on the track map I've got.
I see first corner on mine, but yeah, it is funny how there's certain tracks, and Suzuka's one of those where there's so many unique corner names for some corners, then they sort of, I don't know if they run out of ideas, run out of things to name them after, and you're just sort of like, I don't know, last curve, first corner, back stretch, mind you. I mean, and then there's some corners like the spoon curve, which you think is a kind of a funny name, but it's spoon shaped. That's the only way to really describe it well. But no, you make a good point. I'm all about talking about corner names and picking out ones that are a little bit funny. I think Degna's, I think the Degner corners are easily the funniest on Suzuka, and well, I'd say they're well known. I think they're actually quite fun corners. They're not fun when you get them wrong, though. And I don't think we've seen anybody get them wrong, because if you get Degna 1 wrong or Degna 2 wrong, it's pretty much a death knell. That was funnier in my head. I don't think that actually was that good, so I apologize for that.
Did you know that the Degner curves are named after a German?
I did not know that.
A motorcycle racer called Ernst Degner, who crashed there in 1962, and the corner was named in his honour following the crash.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Fun
like
fact, or
Google
well, I
tells you
guess
things.
not so,
Fun,
not so
well, not
fun,
fun
kind
for
of
him.
tragic facts. Yeah. Hey, that's what we are
Yeah,
here. We're for RCI, racing and learning. Those are the two
I thought
pillars
I
of
thought you were going to say
RCI.
tragic.
Well, a little bit.
A little bit, sometimes.
It is worth mentioning that we are keeping an eye on our YouTube chat, and Ash Baby, rightfully so, is plugging one of our many great affiliates, which is Moser Racing. Someone's talking about buying a new wheel, and well, might I recommend Moser Racing for high quality, well priced sim gear. I'm well personally affiliated with Moza. Well, not affiliated. I run Moza gear. It's great. I love it. No regrets. So if you're looking for it, check them out in the link below. I will be talking more about our partners as we go through the cast, but let's start out talking about one of the good ones, which is Moza Racing. 1 minute to go in our qualifying session. It's Lawrence still at the top. It's Huel that's come through and bipped Mr. Matthew Whitburn, and Huel seems to be done with his qualifying, and most people will be wrapping up, either finishing their final laps now or getting ready to start them. Jordan Daly, this is his final lap. He's in seventh, which for him in this series so far, that's not the greatest showing. He was on the front row last week at Watkins Glen, and it's probably looking to improve on this last lap if he can. And if not, let's see some improvement in the race. I mean, he's already about a tenth and a half, 2/10 up on his time so far, which would jump him another position. And we'll see how it goes on the lap. I don't see anybody improving too massively. Whitburn is up just a bit, but everybody going around for the last time in true anger with low fuel and not worried about tires for the last time this season. And I think Suzuki circuit gets a little bit of a bad rap. I think it's kind of a love or hate. I think it's at its best in high downforce machinery. And I think today, though, I'm going to have my mind changed because these Porsche Cup cars are not high downforce machinery. I could describe them as low downforce machinery. Low downforce, high octane, straight six, rear engine maniacs as Jordan Daly wrings the neck through the final corner. We'll see where that jumps him as he's getting ready to cross the line. Should be an improvement. It wasn't an improvement, actually. It's seventh at the moment for Jordan Daly. John Dalton is working his way through Spoon Curve, getting ready to wind up the flat six, the 500 odd horsepower down the back stretch towards 130R. It seems Lawrence, Huel, Stubna, Daly, Brunier, Kaneko, which I should say something about Masatoshi Kaneko as John Dalton's going through 130R. That is a bit of a home hero. He went through it a bit too quick, I must say, but Masatoshi Kaneko is a resident of the nation of Japan, and it is currently, I think, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning for him as they're waking up. So great to see Masatoshi here, and it's also great to see Aaron Roach, who is an Australian. So both of them, massive, massive respect, massive commitment to wake up in the very, very early hours on a Monday, well, on a Tuesday for them, and to come and race with us. And if you do want to race with us, check us out on SimGrid and join our Discord, where we have all information about all of our events. This is our last event before Christmas, but we will have more coming next year for sure. But that does bring the end to our qualifying. It did end up Martin Lawrence held firm on pole position for the final round. Raphael Huel starting on the second row, sort of putting a gap between Lawrence and Whitburn for that fight. Whitburn is in third position, followed by Stubna. Kumpu is in fifth position. Dalton, Daly, Boardman, Brunier, and Pimlott round out the top 10. Kaneko, Yeo, Ria, Eloranta, Galamini, Redford, Volpe, and Roach are our final 8 drivers in qualifying. And I think we got a bit of a race on our hands. I mean, it's an uphill fight for Matt Whitburn, and
Well, Whitburn lost his time in the first sector to Lorenk, but actually was quicker in the third sector. So to me, that suggests that he's got a car that's a bit worse through the twisty bits, but a bit better in a straight line. So maybe a sight into how their setups might be slightly different. Maybe Whitburn's gone for a bit more of a low downforce setup, whereas Lawrence is a bit better optimized for the first sector. So, I mean, look out more towards the end of the lap for maybe Whitburn trying to come through, but he might just have to hang on in the first part of the lap on lap one.
I think that is a very good shout, but he does have to get past Raphael Huel first. And if Huel puts up any amount of defense, that could spell doom for the championship. And speaking of the championship, we have our standings before the final round. It is Lawrence leading the field with those 231 crucial points. Matt Whitburn in second. As a reminder, he needs a race win and fastest lap to secure victory. And Raphael Huel, he is close, but he's not close enough to win this championship unless something happens to dear old Martin and Matt. And I wouldn't wish that, but it would certainly be exciting. Nico Kumpu is in fourth, Miso Stubna fifth, Dalton sixth, Dauber seventh, Lily Armstrong is in eighth, Nicholas Keller is in ninth, and Gary Volpe is in 10th position. Jordan Daly's in 11th. You'd expect to see him a bit higher, but let's just say this has not been the luckiest season for him. He's had some technical issues and a DNF or two in this season, but he is 11th at the moment. Ossie Laurenta is in 12th, Andy Boardman 13th, Les Stevenson 14th, Jorian Zotuege in 15th, Sebastian Brunier in 16th, Neil Pimlott 17th, Will Stevenson 18th, Peter in 19th, and Thibaut Roskam in 20th position. And I'm, as I said, keeping an eye on the YouTube chat. We have Mike Redford in there talking about how he's a little bit frustrated with his cup car, and Ash Baby saying maybe he's a bit of a dark horse for tonight. So I think could be Mike Redford could find some pace in the race with a bit more heavily fueled Porsche. I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep our eyes in the backfield. Maybe we'll see Redford tearing through the field. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. The let's be honest, it's the best livery of the season. It's the Rainbow Sparkles Racing Team. The team is named and designed by none other than Matt Whitburn's kids. It's a super cool story, and it's a super memorable race car. And it's would you agree with me, Callum? What do you think? Think best livery of the season?
Oh, I mean, it's definitely one of the best. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's a very, very unique thing. I don't think a lot of these guys have their kids design their race liveries for them, but it's nice to see. Hopefully, they get to watch it back. I don't know how old they are, so I imagine it might be a bit late for them. I think it's nearly 8 o'clock in the UK right now, so maybe a bit late for them to be watching. But if they are, hello. And I don't know. There's a couple of really good ones. I really like Nico Kumpu's livery. I like how the blue. It's completely blue on the front bumper. It looks very different. Most of them have the sort of black plastic front bumper, but Nico's edited that and changed it to make it all blue. But I do like the Porsche Cup car. I think like I was watching the stream back from last week over the week and stuff, and one thing I didn't realize, because we don't have car like race audio in the box, just so we can hear each other a bit better, and it's just how the sort of stream is set up. It's how good these cars sound.
Oh yeah,
They sound really, really good, and there were points where I realised that I couldn't hear myself over the sound of the car going around. I think that's Alaranta's, number 41 car, with the Lightspeed Racing flame effect with the Muppet on the
it's
Muppet
not
on
a
the rear
Muppet.
bumper.
That's
Is that a
Elmo.
Muppet?
That's Elmo. Come on. That's legendary Elmo in the
Is Elmo not?
fire.
Is Elmo not a Muppet?
Elmo is not a Muppet. No, Elmo
Oh
is, I
gosh,
believe, his own thing. Don't know if they have a name for their whole squad of friends, but no,
I'm
Elmo is not
googling
a
it.
Muppet. Elmo is is friendship, and there's the Redford Mobile, the dark horse of the night. Please no Punterino. I think is something words we could all
Apologies
live
for getting
by.
Elmo and the Muppets and Sesame Street confused.
Yep.
I'd just like
Yeah,
to put it out there.
Sesame
This is
Street
an
was what I was looking for.
official apology. I forgot my legendary kids TV programs. They all sort of blend into one.
Well, hopefully that's the last important thing that we forget, as it's basically time to get going on our formation lap. It will be a long one. It is a long lap here as we're waiting for Lawrence to set off. He does do. This is an important lap for certain drivers, especially drivers like Whitburn. You want to get that car as prepped as you can, those tires up to as good of a temperature as you're able to under these slow speeds, and also maybe a little bit of brake temp coming through the final couple of corners, so that turn one you can brake as late as possible. Maybe set a move on a couple of other drivers. Turn one is it's not the heaviest braking zone you'll see for a turn one of some circuits. It is difficult to get a move done properly, but if you're brave, if you're committed, if you're smart, I think most importantly, you can get some moves done. And while we're going through this formation, I will take a moment to thank some of the people that help us do what we do here. I already alluded to a couple of them earlier, but now is as good of time as any, because let's be honest, I'm expecting enough action that we won't have time, or inevitably, I will forget. And to start with some of those people, thank you to Ready Set Sim. If you're looking to build a new sim rig, looking to shop for new sim gear, head over to their website in the link in the description. Check out the RSS Sim Builder for all your sim rig building needs. And if you're looking for a new wheel, new direct drive, check out Moser Racing. Talked about them earlier. Super high quality, super well priced, super great, super awesome. Big fan of everything they do there. Once you have your gear and you're thinking about what sim should I target, what games should I play, go over to Green Man Gaming for all your PC sim game and just PC gaming in general, all of your deals over there. And I'm sure as we're getting closer and closer to Christmas, some winter sales, some Christmas sales will happen. Some great deals happening over at Green Man Gaming. And then once you have your sim, once you have your title that you want to chase lap time in, head over to Coach Dave Delta to help you figure out that lap time as quickly as you can. Lap time begins with Delta, and they have tons of coaching, setup, and other guides to help you out there. And Pimax is who I would recommend if you are thinking about joining the world of racing in VR. They have class-leading clarity, and if you want a little discount, we have a little discount link for you in the description. Of course, thank you to Motorsport UK for having us as a recommended community. It's an honor and a privilege to be on their short list. And that completes my short list of things to do before we get underway. A couple more corners remaining. These are the slowest you're going to see these cars all day going through these corners. I hope certainly the slowest you're going to see it coming down the back stretch, Callum.
So just to make a quick point there, because it's a really important thing that we teach drivers in real life racing, is how to warm a car up correctly. So the brakes are actually the biggest part of warming the car up completely. If you think about it, your brake is effectively a 500 plus degree oven on the inside of your tyre. So the little bits of weaving that you see drivers doing, all that does is create surface temp on the outside of the tyre. If you want that temp to last beyond, well, probably about turn 3 of this racetrack, you need to heat the brakes up, because the brakes inherently heat the wheel up, which then keeps the temperature in the core of the tyre, which then lasts much longer, and it helps bring the tyres up properly. So you can drag the brakes, you can hold the brakes a little bit while you're going along, but yeah, that is the biggest part of warming up any race car, including these ones. So I imagine these guys, well, they don't have any more time to do any of that. It is getting ready to go. So it's going to be Martin Lawrence taking us up towards the light. Remember, Whitburn in 3rd place needs a win and fastest lap to take the championship. Anything else isn't good enough as long as Lawrence is in 2nd place or better. And we're getting ready. It's a really long run up to the lights. You see them at the top of the screen. When they go out, they'll be racing towards turn 1.
Green light.
And it's green for the finale of the Porsche Cup Championship here at Suzuka. We've got one of the nearly on pace cars looking towards the inside here as Laurent defends from Raphael Huell, trying to hold it round all the way around the outside of turn 1. I think that was Whitburn taking a little bit of a touch from John Dalton in the background. So Dalton's had a really good start. He's up 2 places from 6th position on the grid. But at the front 3 are as they were. It's Laurent followed by Whitburn, Laurent followed by Huell, followed by Whitburn. And then we've got Dalton, Stubner in the background there, and then Jordan Daly. So Nico Kumpu's lost out here because he's behind Jordan Daly now, and he's started in 5th place. So he's lost a couple of positions. But Stubner is challenging John Dalton coming into the Degners, but the outside isn't the place to be. Gets pushed out, but manages to hold the car very, very well. Squeezes Jordan Daly on the inside if he goes down, but Stubner should have the line for the hairpin. There's a little bit of chaos going on in the background. Daly defends, going into the hairpin. Nico Kumpu decides, nope, that's my inside line through that hairpin now. Michel Stubner was trying to take the outside sort of line and get a bit of a slingshot off, but Kumpu said, nope, I want that position back now, and has made his way up and is looking on the back of Jordan Daly as we go into Spoon Jam.
Yeah, it's a little bit of argy-bargy, a little bit of movement in the upper midfield. No movement at the front of the field, which is sort of where we're looking right now. Matt Whitburn hard on the heels of Raphael Huell. He knows he needs to get this move done. An hour is a long time, but Martin Lawrence, I'm sure if he's left to his own devices, is going to begin opening up a gap. Nothing doing so far in this first lap. It was interesting to see Huell trying to go around the outside of Lawrence on the race start. You'd think, all right, that's the sort of championship leader. I'm comfortable where I am, but sort of looking for a good haul of points. But it's clear Raphael Huell is hunting for a race victory. First one as Alessio Lorente gets a little bit too much over the curb in the Casio triangle there. And but no, it's pretty simple. Well, I shouldn't say simple. Pretty standard race start. Pretty clean from a lot of drivers. Redford is up a position or 2 already. We're looking at him. He said he wanted 1 on-track overtake. He's already gotten 2. So hopefully he can continue moving up the field. However, Alorata is looking a bit hot on the heels. Ooh, maybe sticking a nose in through the S's. That was a bit of a day late and $1 short of a move, and it sends Redford off. We'll see a race replay of that, and it's just, he starts the move, doesn't really seem to want to go on the brakes and keeps pushing him around and off circuit. That was a bit of a desperate-looking move, especially this early into the race from Alorata. I'm sure that might be something that gets sent to the stewards later in the race, and to look forward. It's still Kumpu v. Daly. They're still fighting each other entering the 3rd sector. It can be a bit tough to do overtakes here at Suzuka, especially when you're not in high downforce machinery, not something where you have a strong toe to work off of. There's no really big braking zones. The biggest braking zone was Daly went a bit wide, kept it well though. Kumpu might have compromised his line mid-corner just a bit, because you can see Stubna on the rear thinking about it. A perfect shot. You can see that toe in action. There is a bit of one. Daly's just sitting on the middle of the road, making everyone have to move around him. Kumpu thought one way, another way, but they both go wide. Stubna's thinking about through. We're 2 by 2. There was a bit of touch between Daly and Kumpu. Daly tries it through the chicane. He can't get ahead of Miso Stubna, but importantly doesn't lose too many positions, doesn't lose too much time. A very opportunistic move from Miso Stubna, and a action-packed 130R.
Yeah, Boardman gained on Kumpu as well through there. I think we just got a little bit of a touch in the back, and it sort of just pushed both of them wide. I think we'll get a replay in a moment of that. But yeah, up front, just to look up there, it's still all the same. Still Laurent, Huell, Whitburn. Whitburn's dropped back about half a second or so from the back of Huell, but Huell is pushing on. One thing to remember is, if Huell wants to win the championship, because I think mathematically he still can, like we said earlier, he needs to win this race no matter what, because to have any chance, he needs to win, and Martin Laurent and Whitburn have to have some form of incident in their race. So it makes sense that Huell was trying to give it a go early on and sort of take the lead and storm off, because then he could leave Whitburn and Laurent to battle in the background by themselves. I think looking back, Yan Yo was one of those people involved in the little bit of a tussle at the second Degner. I think initially Redford gained from that, and I believe from what I could see in the background, it's quite hard to spot. It was Yanyo and Elaranta that might have had a bit of a tussle together on the first lap. And I'm about to be proved very wrong. Very, very right. Yeah, it was. Elaranta just didn't seem to brake early enough. Maybe they just missed their braking point, and you can see there they're both slow off the corner there. So Elaranta is involved in 2 incidents already. I think that was Brunier offline through Spoon as we just cut to them. So this is the Daly incident. Daly does the right thing and places the car in the middle. And Kumpu, I think, just misjudges the gap he had to the car in front, turns in and just clips the rear end, which Daly did very well not to get sent into a wall by that. It's very easy to just have a little bit of a touch and then the game just spins you out. And if he spins out there, you're in a barrier. So very, very well held by Daly and Nico. Unfortunately, I think Nico, he tried a move and it didn't work and he's lost out because of it. So all's fair that ends fair. Maybe Daly's going to be a bit annoyed as he sort of lost out a little bit to Stubner, but Nico Kumpu, is really trying to push on and attack Andy Boardman, but, well, as we've seen earlier, Ash Bibby has just completely put me off from what I was about to say. The S is not a place to try and make a move, but Nico Kumpu is ignoring what I'm saying and trying to make a move anyway, going through Dunlop instead. He's going to try and hold it around the outside, but it's a very tricky place. But he might have the opportunity to put the nose up the inside of the first Degner if he gets a good enough run. But no, he just takes the quick line through there instead, stays behind, and looks for a move towards the end of the lap instead. Obviously, if you get really close to the 2 Degners, you can have a nice dive up the hairpin, like Nico Kumpu did in the first lap. Especially if someone goes a bit offline. See Kumpu taking that tighter line, but getting really, really tail happy. That's the problem with taking the tighter line, is you have the steering lock on, and in taking it off and putting the throttle down at the same time, which is what you need to do at the exit of the corner, it's more likely to upset the car. So Nico Kumpu just struggling a little bit with the oversteer on the exit of the hairpin. I think it's all good up in front of them. Boardman dropped back a bit from Daly, but that's natural because they're battling. And Whitburn, Jack, has closed up a little bit on Huel by about maybe 2 or 3 tenths.
Yeah, a little bit. Huel, I think it's more that Huel's dropped back just a bit. He's the guy who has the fastest lap of the race so far. I think sort of wrongfully was making it sound like Huel wasn't really in for the running, wasn't really a driver within contention. He's absolutely a driver within contention winning these races. He is at times as quick as the best of them, and as we can clearly see in the first 8 minutes of this race, he is quick, if not quicker, than both Lawrence and Whitburn. It's just finding an area to get through, minimizing mistakes is the name of the game. It's going to be interesting to see what's the tires look like mid-race, because this is something that has proven to be the beginning or the end for some drivers' race. These Cup cars, because they sort of lack in aero, you make up for their aerodynamic performance by scrubbing tires, by just using the mechanical grip of the tire, maybe too much. And I think every single race so far this season has been you take tires at the pit stop, which is not a mandatory thing. And just to remind you, the way that the pit stops do work, it's a mandatory stop at some point during this race. I think the pit window might open after the first 10 minutes. And it's a 25-second stationary stop, regardless of how much fuel you take. It's an extra 5 seconds for tires. And we'll see. Those will begin to happen at some point in the race. Usually we see a couple of early stoppers, but none doing so far. But what we do have is a hard fight in the mid-pack. We have Elaranta, who's, on a bit of a tear through the field, and what I do hope is the next overtake that they attempt is one that's maybe a bit cleaner than what we've seen so far. I'm all about hard racing, but Callum, I feel like maybe Elaranta's a bit over the line so far this race.
Yeah, their mechanics wouldn't be too happy with them, let's put it that way. Coming back with a broken car is never a good thing to do. I had one racing driver offer to help me fix his car when he'd broken something. It wasn't his fault. He just ran over a curb and it broke the rear wing because of the wing stays. And he came in and offered to help me fix it, which was very nice of him. But seeing as I was paid to be there and fix his car, it wasn't entirely necessary. I think it was his first race weekend or test day or something like that from my memory. But yeah. Mechanics don't like it when they have to do their job and fix the car. They just much rather put some fuel in it, do some fresh tires on it, and away we go. Elevator is quick. It just seemed to pick the wrong moments to try and have a go. Maybe turn 1 will be a bit better. Down the inside. Thinking about it. Having a go up the inside of turn 1. That's a very lovely, nice and clean move by Eleranta. Gaining 2 positions apparently. I think they might have all overtaken... or they might have overtaken Yan Yo on that lap or something in the previous laps. So Yan Yo is in 15th place. You've got Galamini now in 14th, and Alaranta will be in 13th when the timing board all updates, as it is. Scrolls its way through. The way ACC works is that they have set points on the circuit, and the timing board updates at those points on the left-hand side. So sometimes it can be slightly out of date. But that is okay. Galamini just going a bit wide off the exit. That's what happens if you get a bit of a snap through the Degner. Like the Bronco, HBB says. I think he's turning American, because aren't the Broncos an American football team?
Yes, that is correct. And also, the Bronco is a Ford. I am your resident American.
Resident American.
Not just an American. I'm a Floridian, so I have extra... oh God. Okay. Now,
in the UK, we just get news reports that say Florida man does this.
Yes, and that's because Florida's awesome, and its laws regarding releasing information from police reports are very loose. So, as Galamini, actually, while I'm talking about that, he seems that he struggled a bit into Spoon, maybe just struggling a bit overall because Yan Yo's the next to come through. Philibria is looking quick behind. I think Galamini maybe overheated the tires here, maybe struggling to find that pace. It is a difficult circuit. It is a difficult car to drive. But yeah, there are loose laws regarding releasing information when people get arrested, so it's very easy for news outlets to get that information, which is why it seems like it's only crazy stuff happening in Florida. No, that stuff happens everywhere. It's you just hear about it in Florida because Florida laws are weird, I guess. I think it's awesome. I'm a thorough enjoyer of a good Florida man story. Trying to think of any that come to mind immediately. Not coming up with anything, so let's get back to racing. It's still Philibria chasing Galamini at the back of the field. It's Lawrence leading. Huel in second position, still has that fastest lap, but has dropped off the back just a teeny tiny bit. Whitburn, the driver who needs to win this race, is still in third position, 6/10 behind Whitburn. Or sorry, he is Whitburn. He's 6/10 behind Raphael Huel. We're nearing the 15-minute marker, the 1/4 distance of this race. Not a whole lot of movement at the front of the field, outside of the top 3, absolutely blitzing the circuit and leaving John Dalton behind, who's in 4th position. But things are, I'm actually got to say, very surprised we haven't seen a pit stop yet. I think all the drivers are acutely aware of what is going to happen to these tires, in that I think they're going to go off pretty quick.
Jack, the pit window isn't open yet.
Well, okay. I don't even know if there is a...
That's why we haven't had a pit stop, is because the pit window isn't open.
Well, you know, once it opens, maybe people will go in and prove my point, or they'll disprove my point. But you might be right.
Well, Whitburn took an early stop in the last round at Watkins Glen, so he might try and do the same thing again. I feel like he's being held up by Raphael Huel here. So if he wants to win this race, which he needs to do, he number one needs to get the fastest lap off Raphael Huel, which is probably going to be a good idea to stop early, get some clean air and new tyres on, and then at least try and set the fastest lap, and then in doing that, maybe get a bit of an undercut. We have seen pit stop mistakes in these series. It's, you know, typically pit stops vary about 2 seconds or so over the grid for a good one. obviously ACC, as we've mentioned before, is very, very tricky about how it likes you to do its pit stops. You have to stop in the exact right place with the engine switched off. Most people switch the engine off as they're coasting in it, as they're braking, and then you have to switch the engine back on again at the exact right point as it drops you to the ground, and then you can go straight away without any sort of, well, the game otherwise gets in the way and does stuff for you, and it does it slower than you can. So these guys probably will have practiced it, as well as the pit entries and exits. But it's not all over for Whitburn, so seeing as he's less than 2 seconds off the lead, this could all be about a pit stop, basically, and when they choose to do it, and how they choose to do it, and if they nail it or mess it up, basically, Jack.
Yeah, that is certainly worth mentioning, and depending on how these two are driving their cars and how they're electing to use their tire in each corner, you know, towards the end of their stints, they could there could be a pace delta, there could be a tire offset, and that could be exacerbated by a pit stop, like you were just saying, Callum. But you know, it's ebbing and flowing at the moment. It does seem though that Martin Lawrence does have the answer, which is blitzing pace as Jordan Daly takes a brief. I mean, he's widening the entry of the corner for sure.
Wide.
Yeah, I think he might have done that a bit too much, as we're gonna see. It's a bit bumpy and jumpy over, and it's kind of hard to get your braking right when you're on the grass. But yet again, a moment in 100R for Jordan Daly that I think a lesser driver.
So lucky he kept that point in a straight
so I'm
line.
saying a lesser driver, I think, would have maybe lost it. I had the pleasure of good shout by Ash Bibby. Jordan Daly's a well-known Moza racing wheel user. Could it have been, although the skill of the wheel, or could it have been the skill of the driver? I would argue it's the skill of the driver. I had the pleasure of racing against, losing to Jordan Daly. We were doing some random private server funny racing in LMU yesterday, and that man's car control is astonishing and really frustrating. He pulled some moves through Sebring in Van Walls that, they're burned into my memory. But the fact that I was even close enough that we had to fight, it's good enough for me. Just a reminder.
Will maintain that it's all about. Ash Bibby will maintain it's all about the sim because it's his sim that he's using.
That's also true. As Daly gets nice and sideways, the classic Porsche Cup car entry to a corner, which is just sort of quick steering input and just glide it on through. So it's cool looking. Probably not good for the tires. Probably not good for the temperature of said tires, but it's still Daly leading Kumpu. Kumpu did clear Boardman with not too much effort. Well, I shouldn't say too much effort, too much difficulty. We'll see what it looks like from the leader of this race through 130R. It is a dab of the brakes. It is a downshift. It is running it wide, but not too wide, then getting it squared and shaped up for the final chicane. It is worth mentioning as well, as these are Cup cars, and there are certain Cup car configurations, and it's all super confusing on what cars have what. The ACC Porsche 992 Cup cars have ABS and no traction control. Some have no ABS and traction controls, or different permutations of the such. But what they all do have, a big old flat 6 engine that's just kind of plonked on the rear axle of the car. Well, I think it's just ahead of the rear axle, but you get what I mean. It's rear engine. Porsches are weird, but clearly they're mighty exciting racing machine.
It's weird. I didn't realise that the cockpit cam showed the pedals moving in that way. It's actually quite accurate. You can see Martin Lawrence trail, or Rafa, whoever we were just on board with, trail braking into the Casio triangle. So he's going full on the brakes, downshifting, and then as he peels into the corner, the more steering lock he puts on, the more brake he takes off, which is the quickest way to brake into any corner. You gain a massive amount of time learned in trail braking. It's a bit of a tricky thing to do. It's one of the sort of things you need to get into the habit of straight away when you're driving, because it just makes it easier. But yeah, massively difficult to do, but obviously all of these guys are absolutely rapid. I mean, you can tell by the fact that multiple Mondays winners are, you know, scattered through the top 10 really, that all of these guys are so quick. They would absolutely beat me and you, Jack. I think we'd probably be, we'd be 19th and 20th, I think, if we were on the grid third right now. I'm not going to be funny. But,
I would be 19th. You would be 20th. I just want to get that clear.
oh well, like I said, ooh, that was Daly a little bit tail happy into the second part of Spoon. We'll see if Nico Kumpu gets a bit of a run. But yeah, I mean, we'll have that battle one day, but today is not that day. Although I would like to do a race where we join live to somebody in a car. That, I feel like that would be interesting to do.
That could be interesting. We could sort that out. It is worth noting, pit window is finally open. I feel like it usually has been opening earlier in this race, but honestly, it could just be that I've been so preoccupied with the racing action that I just didn't notice when the pit window opened and closed. So 20 minutes for these drivers to get their stops in. Will we see some early stopping? Will we see some... Well, I'm going to assume the vast majority of cars are going to sort of be that 30-minute half distance timing. It usually seems that the chosen strategy is fill your car up with half distance of fuel, give it the rest, and give it some tires at your pit stop. And we'll probably see that begin to happen in the next 9 minutes. It's Yanyo. Well, that was Elaranta going up the inside of Yanyo. We'll see if there was any... there was a little bit of a rub. Maybe Elaranta sort of shutting the door a bit, maybe running a bit wide. Yanyo having to take the alternate line, also known as the wide line, but he's back on the back of Elaranta. And I know that Galamini and Ria are fighting in the background, so there's a lot of movement in the rear guard, as I'm going to call them, of this race. And we'll see. Yanyo is certainly a quick driver. We know that. Right all over the back of Elaranta into Degna 1. Degna 2, a bit, maybe jumping a bit further back. Elaranta losing it a bit on the rear, waiting for that car to shape up. This is one of the few corners that is a really good overtaking opportunity, depending on how you set yourself up against your rival, which is that short little hairpin, which is called, believe it or not, hairpin. Crazy stuff here. But Yanyo did not have the run through the Degna. Elaranta chose to go defensive, interestingly. Maybe felt the need. Thought there might be a late move from Yo. He's getting a little bit of a slide on. A bit of a slide on, but still keeping it reasonable through the Spoon corner. But we'll see what happens between the two. I think it's a 2x2 fight. 2 up here, 2 just behind. Things are looking mighty exciting in the rear of this field.
I think that might be classed as a bit naughty. You have to leave, if you're up the inside of a car and they're still on your outside, you have to leave them space on the outside. At least the car's width, obviously. And it didn't seem, from what we could see, to do that. We have been proved wrong by the replay camera and the onboard camera. However, I think that might be looked on a bit harshly if Yanyo chooses to report that. I was just going to say, Jack, as a professional race strategist, of which I somehow am sometimes, I pretend to be, I feel like if I was Whitburn, I'd either pit now or at, well, as close to 20 minutes as he can possibly get. Because he either wants to pit now and use up the new tyre straight away as much as possible. It goes a bit deep, but it won't cost him too much time. It's one of them weird corners where you can actually run quite deep into it naturally anyway. There's sort of multiple lines you can take through there, as we mentioned earlier. But I feel like he's gonna have to either pit really early, use up all the tyre, and sort of get as much of an undercut as possible, or pit as late as possible, try and set some quick laps once the other two in front of him are pitted, and then sort of see if he can make some moves in the later part of the race. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think if he pits on the same laps as Lauren Cajule here, he's relying on them to screw up pit stops. Whereas if he were to do something different, he's then relying on pace and his tyre management and his tyre strategy and his fuel strategy as well to then win the race. And he does what I thought he would do and pits. So it's not as soon as it opened, but it is considerably earlier than we probably expect Lauren to do. So let's see. Hopefully he hits his marks properly. You'll be able to tell because the car will go straight up into the air instead of having a big old long pause. But this is big. Whitburn in the pit, so we presume he's going to take tyres. Everyone's taken tyres pretty much at every race this season. He's got a nice clear pit lane, so it makes it nice and easy to spot his marks. Gets on the brakes, and I don't know if pit lane physics are modeled in ACC, so I don't know if it shows it going up in the air or not. But yeah, hopefully we'll have to keep an eye out on that gap on where he comes out. And Nico Kumpu follows him in as well. So Nico Kumpu deciding to do what Whitburn has done. So hopefully Whitburn puts himself out. He should be out into a gap on the circuit. We'll have to keep an eye on the track back there.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much race deciding stuff for Whitburn. He's getting his pit stop done early-ish. I mean, it's still reasonably half distance, and we'll see in the next couple laps. Maybe Schuel feels like he could be under threat from an undercut. Maybe Lawrence the same deal, but it's sort of been it's been circuit dependent on what strategy is being preferred. I think last week especially, it was sort of about pitting 50-50. It was so hot at Watkins Glen that getting those tires and keeping them at equal distance and not overusing them was sort of the way to go. And now that Whitburn is out, he's behind Mike Redford, who clearly has not been having the easiest race. I mean, had a reasonable start, but then was sort of well, it says please no Punterino on the back of his car, and he was in fact Punterino. But Matt Whitburn, we know, has some good pace. He's going to be bringing these tires in probably reasonably gently. And Yanyo has actually gotten through El Arata, which was the driver that did the Punterino. He's had a handful of incidents that probably be needing to go speak to the stewards about post-race, but Yanyo has gotten through. But it isn't over, of course, because there's that long straight towards 130R. Ooh, El Arata turning in a bit early, maybe getting a little bit out of shape on the entry, losing a bit of time to Yanyo, closing up on the brakes, almost tapping the back of Yanyo. They're getting a little bit close and clattering all over those curves. I think that may have been a bit of a bottom-clenching moment for Yanyo as El Arata jumps into the pits. So for Yanyo, he's survived another assault. And here's Whitburn on Redford. He does need to clear Redford really quickly if he wants to be able to put in quick laps and close up to the leaders that he's chasing. Redford goes defensive into the chicanes. Whitburn sees if maybe he can find a faster line, get him on the exit, but no, it's going to have to be done either on the straight or into turn one. But Redford has a wiggle, and through goes Matt Whitburn. And we'll see if Redford decides to fight back at all on the straight. My guess is he's going to leave it be. All's well that ends well after all. But that's Whitburn through. And he will have, I think it'll be Gallimini is the next car for him to overtake, which he's a fair few corners up the way. He may not catch him before Gallimini goes into the pits, but hopefully Whitburn didn't lose too much time overtaking Mike Redford.
Yeah, Whitburn needed that to be him boxing and coming out in front of Redford, really, for his race, but not to be. He did get past him fairly quickly. It only took a lap or so, but we'll see when Martin Laurent pits. El Arata actually clattered the curbs on the insides of the Casio triangle as well as the inside curb at 130R, so I think that was why they decided to pit, and maybe they're struggling a little bit on their tyres and thought, well, it's halfway, so we'll give it a go and see what happens. Obviously Jordan Daly's up to 5th. That is as a result of cars ahead pitting. John Dalton is in the pit lane as well, and Daly follows in, so we might get a bit of an inkling on how well Whitburn's doing based on where he comes out in comparison to these cars that have just pitted. I'm trying to see if I can spot him on his track map.
He's just exited Spoon Corner.
Yeah, I thought he had. I thought that was him down there. So Whitburn has, well, 130R and the chicane between him and the cars that have currently pitted from the lead lap and from sort of the lead battle. Can you remember, Jack, how far he was ahead of Dalton?
I believe it was, I'm not actually 100% sure when he came through. It was probably towards the 6-7 second margin, and hopefully he comes out with at least that much between him. He's coming down the straight. Dalton and Daly seem to still be stationary. So he certainly got through them, and now it's all about putting in the fastest laps that he can afford to do with the tires he has to leave enough room to fight towards the end of this race. He had about 3-ish seconds, 4 seconds between him and Lawrence when he came into the pit. So it's not job done for Matt Whitburn, but I feel like that's a little bit of a sigh of relief for not having to worry about those cars being those cars being ahead of him. It's worth mentioning Masatoshi Kaneko is up to 5th position. Yes, I know they haven't pit, but that's our resident home hero. And
They're side by side in the pit.
that was Martin Lawrence and I think that was Aaron Roach coming into pit lane. We'll see that replay. Roach is going really slowly, and Martin Lawrence said, I can't afford to lose this time. Hopefully, Lawrence got the car slowed down. That might be... I think he did too. It looks like he wasn't still holding on the brakes for too long.
He's lucky he's lucky the pit wall didn't come out. Sometimes they have like a tyre stack where the speed, the pit limiter marker is, and if that would come out sort of where there was a tyre stack in the entry of the pit lane, he would have clattered that. Wow, I've never seen someone. Well, it's sort of S to F1 back in China where they have that weird pit entry and people start overtaking on the exit, on the entry to the pits, or in the Canadian Grand Prix you see people overtaking on the exit quite a bit. So this is big. This is Lorenk in the box. And he's already going again. And where is
Whitburn's going through the chicane right now.
Casio triangle. Yep. So
Lawrence coming through last curve. I mean, Lawrence is gonna be ahead, but he's got to get up to speed. Got to get pressure back in those tires. We'll see what the gap is once everything updates for Matt Whitburn. We'll see. Redford still hasn't pitted. It seems that it's really 15 seconds between them. That doesn't seem quite right. Maybe it is. I mean, it is several corners in between. I'm actually seeing 6 and a bit. Oh, never mind. Everything's changing.
As they cross the line.
6 or 7 seconds I'm seeing on the tool between the two. So it might be a 6-second gap. That doesn't necessarily mean that Whitburn lost time, but I don't think he gained time on the leader. And,
so Lawrence had a faster pit stop than Whitburn.
He has so by about 0.8 of a second. Or sorry, no, about, well, no, 1/10 of a second faster pit stop time, according to what I could see. Sorry, final answer. 4/10 is final answer. I was reading the wrong thing. 4/10 is the difference on their pit stop. That could be race deciding as Huell, from the lead of this race, goes into pit lane. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Martin Lawrence and Matt Whitburn. If Whitburn's done the job, he should come out ahead of Raphael Huell and Lawrence. He should come out ahead of him pretty much regardless. We'll see. He's going down the back straight towards 130R. What do you think, Callum? I think my bet is I think Huell might come out ahead of him.
I think Huell will just about have Whitburn, but it all depends on whether he hits his marks and how well he entered the pit lane. Although Lawrence did that pretty much sideways on with another car and still managed to set a quicker pit stop time. So as long as he hasn't got a penalty for speeding in the pits. As Raphael Huell gets going, Lawrence already gone past. So there he goes now. As Volpe is also in the pits as well. A good stint from them to pit at the same time as the leaders. But the timing tower is messing Ash Bibby up. Whitburn comes out behind Huell, and I think the gap looks the same, Jack, to me, just on the eye. So I don't think Whitburn's really gained much. I think he just pitted a bit late. If he'd have pitted a bit earlier, he'd have had a bigger gap to Redford in front of him, and he might have been able to set some quick laps. But to note, Raphael Huell still has the fastest lap, and I believe that must be from the first stint, because Huell's only just exited the pit lane. So none of these guys are really pushing on the new tyres. Oh, Volpe's got a stop and go 30, so that is speeding in the pit. So they've either pressed the pit limiter too late, or pressed it too early exiting, trying to get, maybe they've seen the wrong line or something in the floor on the exit of the pits. It can sometimes be a bit confusing, but Fuel's tyres are taking a little bit of time to come up to temperature, so Whitburn is closing in, but he's got a big task in sort of 25 minutes. He's got to get past Fuel and then look to catch up and overtake a 5-second gap on Martin Lorick.
Yeah, it is a tall order, and if there were a chance for Whitburn to clear Huel, it is right now. It is while Huel's comfortable on his tires. He understands where his car is underneath him. Huel's still sort of trying to figure it out, but the gap's really not closing all that much. He's maybe closed half a tenth in this past few corners. We'll see where they're at on the exit of 130R. Maybe Whitburn will have a bit more speed, a bit more confidence, but no, I mean, Huel looks composed, maybe running a little bit wide, but yeah, as I said, only a tenth or so that he's closed between him, and that all-important 6 seconds between Martin Lawrence and Matt Whitburn. And you know, this championship, I think I'll run you guys through a little championship history. Not that it's been too terribly long, but I remember way back when, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, when we started off at Imola. We thought it was going to be a bit of a Whitburn runarounds. He was so quick in the first round. Lo and behold, Martin Lawrence was doing that race on broken machinery. He didn't have force feedback, and I think his pedals were basically switches. He finished in 12th. Come next week in Hungaroring in the dark, and he crushed it. Absolutely ran through the field and won that race. And he's basically been the dominant force, and Whitburn had a bad day at Hungaroring, and that's what brought that championship swing back into effect. And it's sort of been give and take between the two drivers, as we're on board now with the home hero, Masatoshi Kaneko, one of the two drivers that has the greatest commitment in this championship. It's Masatoshi Kaneko and Aaron Roach, because it's 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. respectively. It's probably a little bit later than that now that we've gotten well into the race, but great to see that level of commitment for our drivers. It's Yenyo, Masatoshi Kaneko, maybe seeing if they can find a bit of room across the rather aggressive driver, Osceola Alonso, as we've been seeing in this race. It's been a little over the line for me personally. I think for stewards as well. And Gary Volpe's got a stop and go 30 as well, as we just saw, and Aaron Roach also has a stop and go 30. So the committed driver maybe was a little bit overcommittal in the pit lane. We did see there was that moment between Lawrence and Roach there. So maybe Roach was still going a little bit too quickly. Maybe got a little bit nervous for the race and championship leader to suddenly try to overtake them through the lane like that. But a bit unfortunate for Aaron Roach, who clearly has already been having not the greatest race in the world, but still committed to finishing this race. And Callum, would you wake up at 4 a.m., 3 a.m. to do a race? Are you that committed to the sport?
It's a rough one, isn't it? I mean, it's a good way to start the day. I've woken up much earlier than that to drive 2 race circuits, which I can tell you is long. However, the motorways are very clear at 4 o'clock in the morning, so you can just sit with the cruise control on at, obviously, well, we do things in miles an hour here, Jack, and we do them at 70 on our big roads, so no sort of 55 mile an hour speed limits like you have, no, 70.
Wait, whoa,
you call it highways,
whoa,
I guess.
Whoa, you think our high speed limits are 55? Try 75. Come on.
I just remember top
80, 85. Well, yeah, no, they were right. That was on the roads like the Blue Ridge Parkway, which has way too low of a speed limit.
Miko Kumpu's up the inside of Andy Boardman. He
Done it
pushes
in
him out onto the
Degna
gravel
1.
on the entry. Double Degna 2.
Well, it was between. Yeah, it was in the entry.
Degna 2. Come on.
He set the move up through Degna 1. How about that? That's
Yes.
where my head was at. I'm being yelled at by Ashford, so that I failed. And I don't think I have.
Want to point out that Whitburn's lost about 6 or 7 tenths of a second to rough. Sorry, excuse me. as I regained the ability to breathe, to Raphael Huell, and Raphael Huell's lost about a second to Martin Lawrence as well. So Whitburn's lost about 2 seconds to our race leader over the course of about 5 laps. We do have a yellow flag out on circuit, which is car. I think
that is Gallimini.
777. It looks like
777.
I have it really small on my monitor, so 2s and 7s are looking exactly the same at those amount of pixels. So, but yeah, nothing on the tool. But he was going slowly through, I think, Dunlop as he comes now through the Degner. So whether he was just letting someone. I think he might have had a bit of a half spin.
I think he might have done. Yeah, he was stopped on the side at Dunlop, and now he's sort of looped it a bit, coming through Degner
Get
2.
out. Get out.
No, I think that was acceptable, and I think that's going to bring the end for Gallimini's race. He seemed to be a bit off the pace, struggling just a bit, and maybe it was one spin too many, realizing that maybe that's enough driving for the day. It seems that Yan Yo has gotten through the El Aranta roadblock. Well, I say he's gotten through. El Aranta's actually alongside him in turn 1. Hopefully it's not going to be a repeat of what happened last time. Hopefully the drivers give each other space. I think what?
That's decent.
What?
Hopefully Yan-Yo will come back.
Maybe.
I believe they're still there. That looked like decent to me. So we'll see.
I see Yan-Yo in the background. Oh, there's another car. The Yan-Yo is stopped. He's in the pit lane.
I think he's disconnected.
I think he had a brief connection error, and it seemed like because he popped back into the back of shot, but like was halfway back from the braking zone and just sort of ended up in the gravel. That was a weird one.
I've seen it when servers desync, when the entire server desyncs at least, that all the cars will do that. They'll sort of pop and then sort of float in a straight line, and it looks very strange. It looked a bit like that, so it might just be a connection issue that's put him back in the pit lane. I don't think he's out in the barriers. I think he's got going again. He's not been shown as the pit lane anymore, but really gutting for him.
He's gone.
He's gone. We've got a couple of drivers that have gone. So I think one being
Gallimini, who just
the
left.
other one being Gallimini at the same time. So maybe a connection issue for Yan-Yo, or something's broke by the looks of things.
You know, I feel like that's we've sort of bookended this season with up and coming fights. It was in the first round, I believe it was between Miso Stubna and Jordan Daly. Right as the fight was about to get going, Jordan Daly popped out of existence and disconnected. We were about to have an El Aranta v Yan-Yo, and Yan-Yo going into the braking zone. Boop, he's gone, and that's always unfortunate to see. I like to think about it that's the sim racing equivalent of mechanical failures in real life, where, you know, an engine explodes as Volpe takes a bit of a half spin, but manages to catch it.
Lawrence in the background. Lawrence just behind Mike Redford there.
Yep, that's Redford who's going to try to go for this move, and Gary Volpe still has that stop and go 30. It sounds like he didn't set everything up properly, didn't actually clear the stop and go, and he has to do it all over again. But hey, a little bit of good news for Mike Redford. He's up 2 positions because of other drivers disconnecting, and he might be up a third. Well, he's certainly going to be up a third after the stop go 30. But yeah, it's important that these drivers don't hold up Martin Lawrence at all. Blue flags would indicate that you gotta, well, in these sort of this type of race, you gotta get the heck out of the way.
Well, I mean, one of them's going to hopefully get out of the way quite naturally, in the fact that I think Volpe, he does. That's not quite the line we take on the entry. However, it's the one Volpe is elected to take, and he's very lucky he didn't smash into the inside of that. Hopefully, he's got his HUD set up correctly so he can clear the stop go 30 instead. It's an awfully long time to sit and wait though. But Laurent is chasing Redford down. Redford is a quick driver enough, but obviously with the blue flags and everything, he won't want to get in the way of this fight. Whitburn's lost another chunk of time. I don't know if something's wrong with that car, or maybe he just didn't manage the tyre properly coming into the stint, but he's 3.5 seconds, Jack, behind Raphael Huell.
Yeah, I think he's just maybe lost the pace. He maybe worked the tires too early. Maybe has had a couple of moments where he, you know, didn't get something right, has dropped a little bit back. But Martin Lawrence has basically been unflappable this entire race, and I think it's probably pretty interesting for Mike Redford that even though he's racing at the back, he's getting brief glimpses of the front pack because earlier in the race he was racing against Matt Whitburn after Whitburn's pit stop, and now he gets to be overtaken by the race leader. So I don't know, the silver linings and all that for Matt Whitburn, but you know.
Volpe off on the inside of the exit of the pit lane. He had to clear the stop and go
Oh,
30. He's like
that
Pimlott
was
near Pimlott, I
yep.
think.
That was
That looks like
You were
Pimlott's car.
absolutely on the
Nearly
money.
went round. Probably a bit distracted by the fact that there's a car going quite slowly on the outside. Volpe had slowed down to let the people pass coming out the pit lane and taken to the grass, and then Pimlott, well, Tokyo drifting really through turn one. It's not the quickest way through there. However, he just about managed to hold on to the back end of that car and gets past Volpe, who is a lap down on him anyway, as a bit more of a little buffering, but I think that might be Kanoko's ping. It was quite high in qualifying, so as you can imagine, being a driver from Japan, joining I believe, EU-based server.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe
You're
all our
correct.
servers are EU space. But chasing down Atlanta, obviously that Yanyo was in that battle, but is sadly no longer with us. Is gone to celebrate Christmas early. I feel like we haven't put it out, Jack. It's Christmas. I mean, it's not. It's the 15th of December, but it's Christmas.
It is the Christmas season for sure, but I it's not Christmas yet. Still got 10 whole days.
I mean, I'm doing my Secret Santa tomorrow, so to me that's Christmas.
Yeah, I think it's still racing season. I don't want to think about it being Christmas because that means no more racing and no more commentary gigs till the new year, and that's a little bit sad. And I will say, this may be the last RCI stream of the year. But we do still have a race going on. We still have multi-sprint season 4 over on LMU happening on Friday. We just, unfortunately, due to it being the Christmas season and people working, traveling, etc., we do not have the personnel to host a stream on Friday. So this is the final RCI stream of the season. Well, hey, it's a finale. It's sort of a good moment to end on, possibly. I don't know. We haven't really seen yet. We still have 12 and a half minutes, and I'm quietly rooting for Masatoshi Kaneko to overtake Osei Arata. 2 reasons. Home hero, and Osei Arata's been driving a bit like a maniac today. And, maybe a bit too villainous, I would mind. I'm all about hard racing, but, sometimes they're going too far.
Haley was ahead of Boardman.
He was chasing Nico Kumpu reasonably
and he's now
closely.
6 seconds off the back of Boardman and 8 seconds off the back of Nico. So something's happened there. I believe, well, we're being told by Ash Bibby that he had a very long pit stop, and we think it might be a spin on his own because there's nothing in the ACC tool to show us that he's had any kind of contact or incident with another car. So maybe just struggling with the tyre. He had a 1 minute 14 pit stop, which I would tell you how much longer it is. It's 5.5 to 6 seconds longer, as Ash knows I don't have ACC open, so I can't see what the other guys did. So he did lose a bit of time in the pits, but I believe we saw him battling after the pit stop with Nico Kumpu and Andy Boardman, so I don't quite know what's happened there. Cutting back to Alaranta and Kaneko though. Kaneko still glued to the back of that car, probably tired of seeing Elmo in flames. That was a bit tail happy coming out of the Casio triangle, and I think Kaneko just had to get off the throttle there, as we see the gap sort of opens up down the straight anyway, even with the poor exit. And then you've got Pimlott's cut slowly coming into play in the background. I think Alaranta's driving a bit in the mirrors, which is not the quickest way to drive. And that's sort of going to bring Pimlott into play. Got about 10 and a bit minutes to go. Lawrence stretching out an even bigger gap up at the front, and actually has got the fastest lap off Raphael Buell as well, just to rub salt into the wounds of Whitburn, and he's dropping back further. I don't think he's under threat from John Dalton. There's about a 10-second gap there, so something would have to go horribly wrong for Dalton to get on the podium for Whitburn. But yeah, so it's sort of spreading out a little bit. Well, this is quite different to a Monday. Normally the races condense, but it seems in this one, weirdly, with the nature of this circuit and these cars and these drivers, and I think the tyres as well, Jack, they sort of seem to be spreading apart from obviously this battle on the screen.
Yeah, I think it's the nature of the circuit being a bit difficult, cars being a bit difficult, having to deal with tires, and certain drivers, their tires are falling away at different intervals. But yeah, it's not the usual pack of 3 cars, 2 cars sort of throughout the field. It's really spread out, and this is pretty much what we have going on circuit. And Kaneko sort of closing in through Spoon. It's interesting how much El Aranta's getting out of shape, but still managing to just be fast. I mean, when we saw that last shot coming around the final chicane, Kaneko is getting in the mirrors, doing a little bit of mind games there. They'll be saying, "Hey, look behind you, don't look at the corner, miss your braking point." Definitely trying to get into the mirrors of El Aranta. But last lap we saw, I mean, OC El Aranta was completely sideways on the exit of that corner and managed to not only hold it, but keep it quick enough to stay ahead of Kaneko. And I think we'll survive another lap. Maybe Kaneko's thinking about a late move. Definitely staying in the mirrors. Big time trying to force any amount of error from the Flaming Tires driver just ahead. Elmo in the back furiously pedaling that straight 6 engine. Like a hamster in a hamster wheel.
Flat 6.
Clearly, flat 6. Sorry, what did I say? Straight 6?
Straight 6. You've done that twice.
Well, that's okay.
You skip between the two, and it irked me. You said it in qualifier. I was like, I really hope he says flat 6.
The engine has 6 cylinders. It's in the back. It goes wang. It makes engine sounds.
That's my Christmas present from RCI. Sorted there. That's been clipped and added to the ACC soundboard. That is.
Oh, good. Twice in a month. Exciting stuff. But it's an engine. I don't know. Engines do things that I don't quite understand. But no, Pimlot's properly on the back of this fight now. I think Kaneko's just not able to find a way. El Aranta's driving not defensively. I would say it's the Kevin Boss school of defensive driving, which is just sticking to your line and not moving at all, not sort of paying attention. But Kaneko now is going to be forced to look a little bit in the mirrors. Maybe not quite yet, but maybe after a couple of more corners. But Masatoshi Kaneko is as close on the back as we've seen heading down to 130R, probably getting out in the mirrors again. We'll see. El Aranta's clean through. Not quite using all the circuit, but still getting through quickly. It's another chicane. It's the same answer as last time, which is that El Aranta leads, but Pimlot now is a whole lot closer. I think, I'm not really sure whose money I'd put, or well, I put my money. I'm not sure who I'd put my money on in this fight, but Masatoshi Kaneko diving out from behind the toe. El Aranta now thinking it's the time to go defensive. He's going to try to hold him up, maybe cause Pimlot to join this fight, Callum, but not really sure what to say here. 6 minutes remaining, but the fight is still raging.
Yeah, I think Martin Lorick wants his Christmas holidays to come a bit earlier than they currently are, because he's gapping it even further up at the front from Huey and Whitburn. Whitburn sort of the gap is stabilised, but Lorick is driving off into the sunset. Really, he's gained about another 3/10 over the last couple of laps on Raphael Huey. Nearly a 10-second gap up at the front. I didn't think we'd be saying that. Sort of as we were preparing for the pit stops, about 35 minutes to go. But over the last half hour, Lorick has just disappeared from the rest of them. Really, I think this second stint, he's just nailed. I think the other guys have maybe struggled a little bit more than he has. But Kaneko is putting the car in all the right places to sort of try and distract Eloranta, and I think Eloranta is very much focused. Obviously, they're not going to catch Sebastian Brunet in front. There's about a 15-second gap there, but so Eloranta is very much focused on defending P10 with their life, as Elmo is focused on pedaling as fast as he can to hopefully keep that Porsche going right up until the end. Oh, I thought that had gone the other way around there. I nearly got confused between the cars, but Pimlott is still behind Masatoshi Kaneko, so Pimlott is probably just sniffing an opportunity here to maybe grab P11. But we'll have to see what happens. Anything can happen. Mistakes can be made, and as I say that, makes a mistake. Kaneko's into the side of Eloranta.
It's still
Kaneko
going.
slows down. Pimlott goes through and then gets hit by Eloranta.
Oh, I think we need to see a replay of that. That was a lot of... So, Kaneko touches the rear just a bit. He gets out of shape. Kaneko stops. Eloranta keeps going. Pimlott gets pinged off into the gravel. And it's as things were, but a bit of a shakeup for sure. And I was going to say maybe Pimlott would have had the pace to overtake Masatoshi Kaneko and Jose Eloranta, but well, that didn't exactly go how I would have expected. But I think Masatoshi maybe getting a bit impatient, maybe a bit desperate. But I mean, it was fair play to sort of give back the position immediately, to be like, oh, I made a mistake. I'm gonna come off the gas, and I'm gonna let this driver ahead of me sort it out.
I think Pimlott saw that Eloranta was there on the outside because of Kaneko's car. So Pimlott drove as if there was no car up on the outside, and then sort of probably just got a bash in the door, didn't even realise really what was going on, and then got ACC physics. I think that wouldn't spin a car out in real life. They just bang doors and keep going. But
yes, ACC, the cars are made out of springs, so there's a lot of...
They like to bounce off.
Boinging.
But Pimlott has just held it in front and rear. There's about a second gap there now, and Eloranta is still defending from Kaneko, as we see there, Philip Rear. For the FF Cars Sim Racing team. That's a very good name. I like that name. He's struggling a little bit though, Pimlott. Obviously, maybe a little bit of damage. I don't know if that steering wheel is going to be off in a straight line. Cue to Ash Bibby pulling up the interior cam. Slightly off, but it isn't a straight.
Well,
so
I think that
that's too
steering is good. I think that looks straight to me.
Turns in all right. Doesn't understeer too much. I mean, obviously it will do, but that's the nature of a GT car through that corner. But seems to be behaving well. He's hitting his braking point, so that suggests that the front end is probably fine. It's not pulling either direction, and he's managing to drive that car. As Kaneko's really close on the back of Eloranta still, but just can't find a way past. It's really good.
He keeps doing that, but he keeps catching it.
It gets sideways mid-corner, and you can sort of control. If you can control it with the power, then you can be all right. And obviously, with the nature of how Suzuka is, I think it's quite hard to overtake off the exit of these corners anyway, because there's always another bend coming up straight away. It's not really the right opportunities. But so as long as you're good out of the corners leading onto the straight, so out of Spoon and out of the, sort of basically the hairpin and the final corner, you can sort of get away with it. And because Kaneko's so close behind, if Eloranta does make a mistake, really diving in on the brakes there and getting a bit bouncy on the curb through the first Degner as they come out the second, but because he's so close behind, he has to sort of lift off if Eloranta's slow in front of him. So we'll see what happens as they really slow up going into the hairpin there. It looks almost like they were going in slow motion through there, but no, it's just smacking the brakes on. It's the lowest speed point pretty much of the entire circuit, apart from maybe the Casio Triangle. But these guys are really sort of battling it out with a minute left to go. So I think we'll get one. I think our leader will probably be on his last lap.
I believe.
Don't think they will get over the line in the next 47 seconds. So these guys will be going on to their final lap. So Kaneko's still got one more chance. Just shows the nose coming up to the inside of Spoon, but nothing giving. We'll see if Eloranta can hit their braking point properly for the hairpin, for the chicane this time. which it looks like they've managed to do. And then Kaneko's still right on the back end of it. Alaranta just gets a really good exit every time out of that chicane, Jack.
Yeah, it's almost a bit baffling, considering I'm sure how much damage that car has on it. It's seen some action front to rear. It's seen some action on its rear, but it seems though that Kaneko is really been spurred on, knowing that this is their last lap uh, for this fight. But I think it's also important mentioning it's the last couple of corners for our race leader, our championship leader, Martin Lawrence. One more true corner and then one more basically a corner for Martin Lawrence to take not just victory in Suzuka, but victory in the Porsche Cup Season 4. We have one driver waiting to not have to do one more lap, letting Lawrence come through for the final time. It is victory in the Porsche Cup. Raphael Huell, a mighty second position for them, maybe a personal best finish of the season, and it's Matt Whitburn on the final step of the podium. Not quite enough pace today to win this championship, but enough to get on the podium. John Dalton nearly on pace, possibly needing a name change to nearly on podium. And Miso Stubna in the Kermit racing car next to cross the line, followed by Boardman with, that was Redford into the wall a bit early. He has to cross the line. There he goes. I was not expecting that in any sort of way. Mike Redford crossing the line in the most dramatic fashion I have ever seen. And Jordan Daly doing it sideways. Huge impact and into the pit lane. It is absolute madness here at Suzuka as these racers finish not just their race, but their season. And it's OC Alaranta holding off Matsutoshi Kaneko for the final time coming down the straight. It's a top 10 finish for OC Alaranta in its P11 for the home hero, Masatoshi Kaneko. Neil Pimlott is the last to cross the line. Well, I say the last to cross the line. No, we've got Gary Volpe, who has just started a lap somehow.
He must have just been at the right point.
Must have
when
been.
the leader.
And he's just drifting.
he's going for style points. I don't know if it's intentional, but he's going for style points. He's got them.
Oh, yes! Come on! Come on, Gary. This is your moment in the sun, and you are nailing it. This is impressive stuff. Maybe not quite having the pace of some of these other cars, but having the style, the ability to just drift this thing on the limit at any point. Please go sideways into 131. Go sideways into 131.
I've never seen someone do a Scandinavian flick through 130.
I want to see it. Maybe? It would have. I think it would have been almost certain death to try to go sideways through 130R. But what a way to. Well, that was just that was a blatant cut. He's cheating now. Gary Volpe finishing in style. You're absolutely right, Kel. What a way to end at this season and end out the year as our broadcast team on RCI. And that's going to do it for the Porsche Cup. And we have our final results for the final race. Callum, why don't you take him through it?
As always, drinking a sip of water. Cheers for that. Martin Lawrence takes the win with an 11-second gap to Raphael Huell in second place. Third place is Whitburn, followed by John Dalton in fourth. Miso Stubner in fifth place. Nico Kumpu in sixth. Boardman finishing ahead of Daly in 7th and 8th. Sebastian Brunier, the other one of the nearly on pace cars, in 9th place. OC Alaranta in 10th. Kaneko, home hero, finishing in 11th, just outside of the top 10 there. Neil Pimlott finishing in 12th. Philip Rea in 13th. Mike Redford with that rather impressive crash out, let's say, at the end of the race, in 14th. Roach down in 15th. Gary Volpe, the last of the cars to take the checkered flag, in 16th. Obviously, we lost Yanyo to, we think, a suspected hardware or internet issue, and Galamini also DNF'd in earlier on in the race. But that is your final standings for the final race of the season. And just before we are joined by, I think, well, at least Mike Redford is in for the interview. We can ask him all about that interesting finish line that he chose to take. But I just want
Incredible
to
stuff
say,
across the line.
Jack, a big thank you to everyone at RCI who has, commentated, done social media, broadcasted, stewarded over the year. Obviously, it's been a great year. We've been able to broadcast some really amazing and host some really amazing events. We had the Alpine Series. We've had all of our Monday and Wednesday and Friday championships. A big thank you to those who run it behind the scenes. Obviously, Jesse Lee, who sometimes jumps into the comms booth, as you've seen in the past few weeks as well, and all of the big guys up at the top as well that you don't really see a lot of, but there is a lot of work here that goes on, and a lot of people give up a lot of their time for no money, but I think lots of entertainment, we can say, especially after the end of that race, Jack. But a big thank you to all of them, and a big thank you to all of the partners that support the racing that we do as well. We wouldn't be able to host these sessions, run this community without them. A community of over 6,000 people in this Discord. So if you are interested, go onto SimGrid, search RCI. You can see all of the championships for the new year up there, and as well as see, I believe, all the links to the Discord that you need to join. It's a very friendly bunch, and if you're interested in helping out and being part of the broadcast or the stewarding or the commentating team, there are various links in the Discord channels as well. As I think it's under looking for staff. So if you're interested in doing that in the new year,
Staff
we'd love to have
vacancies
you as well.
channel.
Staff vacancies, that's it. But yeah, big thank you from our side to everyone who is a part of RCI.
You're gonna make me cry, man. That was
Not you
beautiful.
though. Not you.
Okay, I agree. I agree. I don't. I'm just here. Mr. Redford, are you here for us? You around?
Hello.
That was easily the most exciting and wonky way I've ever seen someone cross the finish line. That was
Oh, I knew
that
I
was
wasn't
incredible
across
stuff.
the line yet.
Oh, you
You obviously missed my spin at the last corner, which I think Dalton had to avoid me. I was like, I'm not going to move just in case something goes wrong here. He had to move, go around my outside, I think.
Well,
Oh,
it was well executed crabbing across the line, and obviously not not your best race. I mean, you were saying in the beginning you weren't
No,
feeling
I think I
super great.
did fine. I think others influenced my race pretty heavily though.
I was I was gonna get to that. Yeah, no, I think you were doing well. I was I was maybe I cursed you a little bit because I was saying how you were looking for at least one on circuit overtake, and I was saying how
Yeah.
you got two, and then Punterino.
Well, yep. Not impressed by some of the driving tonight, but hey ho. I get like
Yeah.
2 fastest laps in the race, and they were the 2 laps where I was following Volpe on his in lap for his stop go, and then later on, just after Whitburn lapped me, I was following him and got my PB by like 0.5 of a second. So
Well,
yeah,
silver
just
lining.
being stuck by yourself on a track like Suzuka doesn't really do you any favors.
Well, maybe
least
maybe
for me,
this
anyway.
race. Yeah. Well, no, I agree with you. You're in the John Dalton zone, as we like to call it. But as a whole, do you feel decent? Do you feel reasonable about the season?
Not really. I think I had one good race, and I think that was maybe was it Imola in the wet? I can't remember. I'm pretty wrong.
It was Paul Ricard that was the wet race.
Oh, it wasn't that one then. It was whichever
Then it,
one was before that.
Hungaroring in the dark.
Maybe. I don't know. There
Let's-
was one race that I did okay on. I can't remember.
What if we said
My
every
brain's
race
all
was a great
fuzzy.
race because you
It
don't
was
remember?
Paul Ricard was your best result, so I'd go with Paul Ricard.
Okay, that's funny because I really remember not liking that.
Well,
It's one of those series.
well, maybe not the finish to the year that you were maybe hoping for, but hey, there's always another event,
Yeah.
always another season
Put it
around the
this
corner.
way. Put it this way: if I had a series championship on the line, like we were doing Silver and Pro like we used to, and I had that race as my finale, I probably would have smashed my monitor in today. So it's one of those days.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. We were sorry to see it in the box. But anybody you want to thank? Any words of wisdom? Any final thoughts to close out
No,
your season?
thanks to you guys for hosting and doing broadcasts as usual. Thanks to the stewards as well. It's a shame we couldn't have live stewarding this season, but it's always great anyway. And hope for some more racing soon. Hope this isn't my last ACC series. Hope to end on a high.
We shall see. That's well, hopefully. I've been enjoying ACC. I don't think as far as RCI is concerned. I know people are talking about that ACC is basically dead. I don't know. This is a pretty good championship. But
Yeah. Going to
hopefully,
and from LMU to ACC for this hasn't done me any favors either.
yeah,
So
it seems
it's
to be
very
quite the
different
jump.
car.
Definitely. Well, thank you for joining us in the series. Hopefully, we'll see you in either LMU or ACC, whatever comes sooner, whatever goes better. And thank you
Yeah, I
for
should be
joining
racing
us.
Friday, hopefully. I know there's no broadcast because of the time of the year, but hopefully for something better there.
Hopefully, I wish you best of luck on Friday then.
Cheers. Now you can hand off to someone who's a bit happier. Good night, guys.
Martin Lorenk, congratulations. You are the champion of the Porsche Cup Season 6 at RCI. A big congrats from all of us at the comms booth and everyone involved in RCI. Well done. You did absolutely everything you needed to do today. A massive congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Well, guys gave me sweat, especially in the first stint. I was a bit worried because we were all on the same pace, so I was a little bit nervous. And then, if you could just like see someone's like inside, like the brain, how it works, you would thought I'm dead because my pit lane entry was fine until I found the back marker there. And
We
then
did see that live.
you did, Trevor. Yeah.
It is
Well,
on the
and
stream.
I was like, fine, it's fine. And then I touched the wall, and it was not so fine. Yeah. Well, that's a little bit of payback from the ACC, I guess, because last Friday I did some kind of a like a esport event, I would say. And yeah, I got a drive-through on the start for no reason at all on Spa, and then it told me instantly the game within 3 laps. It disqualified me after 2. So yeah, well, so I guess a little bit of payback because yeah, that pit lane entry was just there was no room at all for like anything like a half kph, and it would be a penalty, and that would be in the bin. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm happy.
we weren't sure how sort of close you were to maxing out sort of the entry of that, but it looked pretty
Yes.
close.
Yes.
But I'm imagining very is the answer.
Yes.
And then sort of that second stint, you really walked away with it. You sort of did you feel like you were driving a lot better in the second stint, or maybe the other guys struggled a little bit more? But you seem to just sort of keep pulling a gap from sort of second and third place from Huel and Matt. Obviously, they both needed to beat you to have any chance of winning today. So winning the championship today. So, but you just sort of seemed to walk away in the second stint. Was it tire management? Was it just
I
sort of a bit of confidence?
Actually, it's like the previous week on Watkins. The second stint was way better. And I am having this like almost every race. If there is something with like a pit stop or so, I'm always pulling way harder in the second stint, and I have no clue why this is happening. Maybe, just maybe, it is because of my like tire warming with the brakes, with the brake dragging, but I don't really know. I can't tell because I don't know. Obviously, I got like when you get into the flow, you can find like that extra tenth or two, but not like 3 or 4 or 5 tenths. It's just a little bit too much. I'm confused with that every time, and it happens to me almost every time on endurances when we are like double stinting the tires if we need. I'm on completely dead tires doing same lap times like on the beginning of the double stint, which is just
Very strange.
extremely
Maybe you need
strange,
to do an
very odd.
entire race stint before qualifying, and then you'll go quicker.
Then I
An
will be
hour's
on the
practice
pace.
beforehand, and then you'll be half a second up on the rest of the field. But I mean, to be fair, you don't need to do that. You've had a fantastic championship. Obviously, that first round was a little bit stressful, should we say, with the lack of the force feedback. But you
Yes.
sort of slowly clawed it back from Whitburn. Obviously, he gave you a really really good fight, and it just didn't quite happen today for him. But I'm gonna throw the normal anyone you want to shout out question, but also add in any plans for the break? Any plans for the holidays?
Well, for the holidays, yeah, obviously, if there will be some events in the ACC, I will join. But yeah, well, as Mike told us, well, the ACC is a bit dead-ish. So I guess my plans are to attend some of those special events on the LMU because there are like around 3 enduros officials coming up. So I'm looking into that, but I am so slow in the LMU. It's just I can't get it like a I can't get it right. Anything like the driving, the consistency out of it. It's just it's I guess I'm too long in the ACC to like get used to another game because I tried iRacing multiple times, some enduros like Le Mans and Nordschleife. Um, then the LMU is just not working for me. I'm just like too used to the physics and the feeling from the ACC.
Well, I think in terms of ACC, you've probably got that covered, especially in Porsches. So hopefully there'll be a season 7 next year, and you can see if any of the other guys sort of get a bit closer and manage to close the gap to you. But I'll close it
Yeah,
out by
hopefully.
saying, well, a big congratulations to you again. Well done. You managed to
Thank
claw
you.
back that early round hardware issue and win the entire championship with a little bit of a gap to spare as well. But Jack, I'll throw over to you, and I believe Raphael Huel,
Yes, indeed,
if
and
he's here.
congratulations again, uh, Martin. It
Thank you
was
and
a great
congratulations to
a great
and
season.
the others. Was a great fighting.
So he's fast and he's nice too. What more could you possibly ask?
I
But
neither.
hey, Mr. Raphael Huel, how are you feeling? I think is that your first time in second? I know you've been on the podium a lot
Uh,
this season, but was that a best result from you?
I have been in second. I believe it was the Paul Ricard race, the Super
You're
It
Red one.
was.
right. You
It was.
were a mega drive in that race. How could I have forgotten? And I was here for it too. So there's literally no mistake. So my apologies. But I mean, a great way to finish the season. Unfortunately, Matt and Martin didn't have a incident, shall we say? So the championship didn't quite go your way. But
Yeah, too
how
bad.
do you how do you how do you feel after this race and after the season?
uh, no, I think it had a rough start with the first race. Um, I can't use the excuse of not having force feedback like Martin. So, uh, but the next few races always on the podium. So I'm quite pleased with that because I think the pace of both Martin and Matt is just it's really quick, and I think I would have to practice a lot more to try to keep up or be in front.
Well, that sounds like you got your holiday plans sorted. It's practice, practice, practice. No, I hope you do take some time off, and who knows? I like Callum said, maybe Porsche season 6. We might have who knows? We could have like a 5-way fight. A couple of people practice Porsches nonstop, and then we have some crazy things happen. Because I hope ACC doesn't go anywhere anytime soon. I've been loving these Monday championships. But any proper plans for the break outside of practicing Porsches?
uh, I think just the LMU championship, getting into that a bit. I've done a few races actually to prepare for the next one. It's a different beast, but I think I'm slowly getting used to it again.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of the endurance races on LMU, and I'm sad that I have to miss like the next 3 just because I'll be traveling. But it's nice because like you don't have to be fast. You have to just like not crash, and then you do pretty well. And I could do that. I don't have to be fast. I can just not hit a wall. But yeah, best of luck in those events, and I hope you enjoy your holidays. And any final words of wisdom, any shout outs, anything to say to us?
Yeah, shout out to you guys for streaming. Uh, to the stewards, I think Redford mentioned them. They don't get enough love at all because when something happens and you need someone to decide, you do need them. It's it's not good to not race, well, to race without stewards, and also to other races, making these races fun. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on equaling your best result of the season and finishing on the podium. And thank you for joining us, and have a happy
Thank you.
holidays, Mr. Whitburn. I got to be the first to say my condolences on just it slipping out towards the end. But you gave us a great championship fight, and I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. No, thank you. Thank you to everyone that sets this up, organisers, stewards, you guys. Big thank you. Obviously, Martin just generally was too great the whole season, really. Obviously, I got a bit fortunate in the first race with his his lack of force feedback. Kind of paid me back a bit in the poor card, but yeah, I'm just nowhere tonight, to be honest. I thought I'd just roll the dice a bit, try and do a bit of an undercut, and then it occurred to me as I then dropped down in the box, I was like, oh yeah, we don't have tie warmers in Porsche Cup, do we? This was a stupid idea. So yeah, that pretty much summed it up, really. But it was all because of a lack of pace, really, rather than like mistakes. It was just that I wasn't quick, so I was clutching at straws to try and find something somewhere.
Yeah, it seemed like a struggle, especially that sort of second stint. You and Raphael were just sort of not quite on the same pace as I mean, like he said, he seemed to find time in the second stint, and I think you guys sort of held the pace you were doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, a great fight all the way through the season. It's one of the closer Mondays that I can remember. But yeah, fantastic, fantastic fight, and congratulations for second place as well. That is a big achievement, especially on such a stacked grid. I mean, I'm sure you know some of these guys who weren't even getting podiums this year are some of the quickest drivers we have. So a second place in a whole season of racing with consistency like that, obviously should we forget the Ricard round?
I have.
We'll forget Paul
Well,
Ricard.
maybe not.
Yeah, Paul Ricard can be wiped. We'll delete the stream footage. It didn't
Yeah,
exist, but
yeah,
but
exactly.
yeah, no, a massive amount of consistency. I want to jump over to something completely different.
Uh-oh.
Are the kids' Christmas presents sorted and wrapped already? Have you got a good hiding place? And is there anything rainbow sparkles?
I mean, it's all pink and rainbow sparkles, and they're just again, it's the makeup and stuff now. So my partner's actually, as we speak, sat wrapping some up. So yeah, they're not. Well, they were hidden, but they were kind of. They should be extra hidden now. Now they're wrapped up and going somewhere else. So um, yeah, they. It's funny because actually it's gone to all this effort to get deliveries on the cars, and they've watched it a bit, but then they're kind of like, "Oh, I'm done now with this. Can we put something else on again?" Oh, okay. Well, you used to enjoy yourself watching this, but yeah, never mind. But yeah,
I'd want to watch it. You're in a championship fight. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
surely that would keep them interested. But I
yeah,
mean,
you'd think so, wouldn't you?
the fact you've got them involved designing the livery and watching any of it is
Yeah,
probably an achievement. I
yeah.
think I'd probably struggle to get anyone interested in watching it. But no, it's a lovely story, and it's really nice that you get them involved with it and everything. And hopefully, I didn't ruin their Christmas presents by asking you that. If they do watch this one, we'll just really quickly turn
Yeah,
it
I'll
off just
skip.
before your interview.
Yeah,
You can't watch that bit, kids. It
yeah,
tells you where the presents are.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but yeah, no, a big congratulations. Obviously time with the family, but any racing plans over the winter, or are you just
Um,
gonna spend some time off? I think.
I've got into LMU, to be honest. That's kind of the problem. I had every intention of doing some practice for this race tonight, and then I've been sat enjoying LMU, and then I've literally not played ACC and turned it on. And I was like, ooh, this feels quite different and not very nice. I could not for the life of me figure the brakes out again. Obviously, in LMU you trail brake a lot earlier, and in ACC I'm thinking, right, I'm just not stopping. I'm just not stopping. Just not stopping. And then the ABS kicks in as I tried to start turning them for the corner. I just yeah. So long story short, it's more LMU. I've been enjoying that.
Yeah, I know quite a few guys are lining up those endurance race series that are coming up as well. It's good that they're putting them on as well over the winter holidays. But we'll be back obviously in the new year. I think the first race we have for all of you watching that is streamed off the top of my head is the 2nd of January. So won't leave you long to recover from your New Year's Eve parties. But yeah, big thanks to you, Matt. Congratulations again from all of us as well. For creating a great championship fight and really fun to watch, really back and forth between you two for the whole season. And we hope you have a very, very lovely Christmas at home playing LMU.
Yeah. You too, guys. Thanks for everything and this season, everything, and it's been nice. I've enjoyed it. So thank you.
Cheers, Matt. Jack, I believe you have the final standings for the championship.
Final provisional standings, as we call
Provisional.
it. I'm sure there's going to be some maybe not some penalties. Well, no, I'm pretty sure there's at least going to be a couple of penalties that are going to come out, whether they affect the final standings or not. At least up at the front, we know for sure how it stands. It's Martin Lawrence at the top of the field, 299 points, 1 point off of 300. An impressive showing, pretty much from start to finish. Jumped back after no force feedback in round one, and basically won every race except for Watkins Glen last week. And Matt Whitburn is in second position. A great season all around. If it wasn't for Paul Ricard, maybe we'd be singing a different tune. And Raphael Huel, a great, maybe not quite up to challenger for the championship level, but a fantastic driver to round out the podium. We have Miso Stubna in fourth, Nico Kumpu in fifth, John Dalton sixth, Joe Dauber seventh, Jordan Daly eighth, Gary Volpe is in ninth, Andy Boardman 10th, Lily Armstrong 11th, Nicholas Keller 12th, Sebastian Brunier 13th, Osiel Aranta in 14th, Neil Pimlott 15th, Les Stevenson 16th, Jorian Zotwe in 17th, Masatoshi Kaneko in 18th, William Stevenson in 19th, Philip Ria in 20th, Mike Redford 21st, Fabio Gallamini 22nd, Yan Yo 23rd, Peter Hollingworth 24th, Thibaut Rosscam 25th, Jesper Swingley 26th. I'm now remembering how big of a grid we had this season. This is fantastic. Tommaso Bocci in 27th, Lucas Bilski 28th, Richard Meerman 29th, Merlin Calohoro in 30th, and Oli Mulder in 31st. And we still have some more. 32nd, Carlos Calatiud, 33rd, Callum Kerrigan, 34th, Aaron Roche, 35, Andrzej Batek, 36, George Sarami, 37, Richard Whittle, 38th, Hugo Duby, 39th, Matso Pichu, the 40th, Yehor Zabara, 41, Lev Laitineko, 42nd, A2 Pitakan, and that is all of our point scorers. We had a lot of drivers this season, and it was a fantastic season. And we have a fantastic final special guest. It's the man himself. It's Kevin Boss.
Hello.
How you feeling, Kevin?
Oh,
Feeling good about the season you put on?
yeah, it's been pretty good. Definitely a good start. Big grids. Of course, as usual, it slows down a bit towards the end. But yeah, all in all, we had over 50 people that wanted to be part of this championship this season, which is still an insane amount for what you see in ACC these days. And yeah, I want to thank each and every driver for being here, being part of it, because these championships can only be a thing without each and every one of them. And yeah, all the drivers that even weren't here, that were here across the year, thank you for joining, and especially since we moved to SimGrid for this season, all the ones that joined, because that just shows like there is still this want for ACC races to be there. So I can already say we are going to continue with ACC on Mondays in 2026. And yeah, the first championship will be a GT3 championship, probably around 6 rounds, and we'll be using the LFM BOP. So keep an eye out for when we announce that.
Ooh.
Things are going to get sweaty.
Things are
Very
gonna
much
get
so.
things are gonna get good. Not that they weren't good already. Things are gonna get greater. How about that? Well, Kevin, any other those are some beautiful final words, but any final things you want to say to round out your year here on the RCI broadcast?
Yeah, well, just once again, a big thank you to all the drivers, and I wish you all happy holidays and very good racing in 2026.
And to all a good night. No, not quite. Not quite. Callum, any final words from yourself before I round out our year here on RCI?
Just echoing Kevin, really a big thank you to everyone who's taken part in races, who's helped put races on, organised, commentated, stewarded, everything, drove. It's been a fantastic year for all of us. We've seen RCI keep growing as it always does, especially with the big move, as Kevin said, over to SimGrid. But great to see people signing up on there. Keep an eye out. Obviously, 2026, you've got that GT3 Championship coming on the Mondays at some point in 2026. It'll be early 2026, I would imagine. We do have some races. Like I said, we are back on the 2nd of January. And we do have that Friday race, unfortunately, that isn't streamed, deciding the multi-sprint, I believe, season 4, off the top of my head, on LMU. But no, a big thanks to you as well, Jack. Obviously, we've commentated a lot this year. We spent a lot of time together up in the box from not really knowing each other, actually, pretty much
It's
halfway
true.
through the year. But
I'd say we're
no, it's
friends
been
now.
fantastic commentating. Yeah, I mean, if I'm ever over in Florida, Lord help me. But no, a big thank you to you guys, to Ash as well. He's lurking somewhere in the background there, in his box. But no, big thank you to everyone involved, and thank you for everyone who's watched, streamed, liked, shared, viewed, whatever. We hope we've provided a little bit of entertainment on your Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I can't wait to see what we do next year. And I hope everyone has a very lovely, happy Christmas celebrating it wherever they are with whoever they're with.
And that's a beautiful way to close us out. I won't bore you too long. I won't quite echo everything everybody said because you've heard it to death. I can say it enough. Thank you all, of course. Thank you to RCI as well for letting me come talk about racing this year. I don't know. It's been 4 or 5 months now, and I pretty much haven't stopped. And sorry if you don't like me, because I'm gonna stick around because I enjoy this quite a lot. Unless who knows, some terrible accident befall. Maybe I get eaten by an alligator. I don't know. Hopefully not. But yeah, thank you to all you for watching. Thank you to all who raced this year. Thank you to all the RCI staff that put in the hours, completely as volunteers as we all are, to make this kind of stuff happen. We all love motorsport. We all love racing. We all love amazing moments, and those are some of the people that make it happen. And of course, I can't end without thanking our partners one final time this year. Thank you to Ready Set Sim. Thank you to Coach Dave Delta. Thank you to Green Man Gaming. Thank you to Pimax. Thank you to Moser Racing, and especially thank you to Motorsport UK. Thank you all again for being here. I hope you have a happy holiday, whatever it is you celebrate. We all love you here at RCI. We hope to see you in the new year, and we are excited for what will come. Thank you all.
You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Get behind the wheel, let's go. Grip the road, feel the flow. Thunder roaring, steel alive. Live this dream and drive. Tires burning with gasoline. Push the limits, chasing green. One shot, don't slow. Go on, we'll take control. Engines scream alive tonight. Blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. Chasing taillights. We're chasing taillights. The miles they fade, but they don't die. Faster now, the hours fly by. Sweat and gears, hearts in sync. On on the edge, on the brink. Clock ticks down, stakes are high. One mistake, we kiss us goodbye. Don't slow down, we're not done. Finish line for the strong ones. Engines scream alive tonight, blazing past the red line. Outrun the night, won't lose this fight. Follow the road, red line for show. We're chasing taillights, don't let go. Under the stars, we'll go so far. This is who we are. Chasing taillights.